Good morning, everybody. Today is Saturday, April 19th, 2025. My name is Mike Zornick, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about budgets and spreadsheets. I feel like doing budgeting is an empowering act. It helps make sure that you are aware of what you are spending, what you're bringing in, what you're working towards for your goals. And for me, I try to budget every 6 to 9 months or so. I've blogged a little bit about in the past about how I do that and some of the things I consider. And yesterday was a great opportunity to kind of like revisit my budget, and taking the information I just kind of worked on doing my annual tax return, and just kind of seeing, what I'm spending and what I don't want to be spending. And so last night I did this, and I did it through the creation of a spreadsheet. And I thought I would take an opportunity this morning to kind of recreate that spreadsheet, talk a little bit about how I track these expenses and things you could consider doing yourself. All right, so we're going to start here in a spreadsheet, and you can see I have created a really basic spreadsheet with some basic expenses, using some made-up things. So we start by just inventorying our expenses. That's basically what this video is going to be talking about. So you want to track, a short description about the expense. You want to track its, of course, raw cost. And then for me, I track the occurrence. So there's plenty of costs that come up that are yearly costs. And I want to make sure I capture them. And so if I do things like birthday gifts for an individual or a family vacation, I want to track that as yearly. We'll show later how we kind of derive these into monthly cost eventually, but just to start, we'll do inventory and we'll capture them as yearly. The next thing I do is I track a kind, and this is either hard, medium, or soft. And the goal of this categorization is basically to say to myself, do I consider this expense a hard expense, meaning an expense that is really difficult to adjust? So if I'm taking prescription medications, those are a hard expense. It would be very dangerous for me to stop taking, my medicines. However, if I'm spending money, buying board games for the family, that is a much more soft expense, meaning that in tough times, or if I'm looking to save money towards a different goal, that is an expense that I could, cut. There's other ones that are a little bit more difficult, like groceries, for example. The generator here created one. This is a hard cost. I'd probably say it's more. I'd probably say it's medium, but even as a medium, there's a lot of leeway in groceries in that you can spend money better. And anyway, those are great conversations to have. Obviously, those are more nuanced, and we're going to be doing just general inventory at this moment. So a great way to help brainstorm these expenses is definitely to just look at your hard documents, your monthly bank statements or your credit card statements. Those will clearly point out things that you're spending. I myself spend a lot of cash, so those are a little bit harder. But you want to basically track everything that you can. You want this to be a very close mirror to reality. So if you're spending, I have a routine on Saturday mornings, I buy pretzels, and I buy a bag of pretzels and a soda, and I know I do that once a week. I'll put that in here. I do track everything at monthly, so I'll put this in as 4 times, I don't know, $8 or whatever it ends up being, to kind of get that value in there. But the goal here is to get a realistic capture of all of the money that's coming out of your accounts. So when you have this raw data in here, you may see a suggestion from Google Sheets to convert this to a table. And I'm actually going to click that and convert this to a table, and it'll give you some notes about things that it's done. Basically changing the column types and creating custom views is something we'll do in a second. And then you can personalize your tables with custom names and colors. So you can come up here and say, these are my expenses. And if you really like a different color, you can make it as purple. For different column types, what it did was it saw that we only had 3 values chosen. And so it assigned a column type of dropdown, and then it created those values for us. And if we want, we can, change the different colors or add different items. But this is really nice. And then for cost, we are going to format this. So we're going to edit the column type, and instead of number, we're going to say this is going to be a currency. All right. As I said earlier, I like to kind of do a lot of my napkin math based on the month unit. And some of these costs are yearly. And so we want to generate a monthly contribution to those costs. And so the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say monthly costs. I'll put USD just because we're doing that. And then we're going to use a formula here. So we're going to say if, or IF, and we're going to say if C2 equals yearly, then we want this value to be D2 divided by 12. Otherwise, we want it to just be D2. We'll put that in there. We'll get a suggestion to autofill that formula to all the values, and we'll do that. So now for each expense, we have its monthly cost. And then for the yearly cost, we are figuring out them as partials that kind of eventually lead that up. Again, this is about doing like a high-level inventory of expenses. This isn't a month-by-month cost evaluation. Like, some things will be harder. Like, you may have a thing in here for vacation, and you may not go on your vacation until the summertime. And so you would have to, be mindful that if you're going to spend that vacation money in July, you need to save it through the months leading up to July. You can't, pay for it afterwards. But this is basically about just getting like high-level numbers. So I think that's fine for now. So the next thing we're interested in here for this table is we would like a footer. So if I right-click inside of a cell, you'll see an option here for Insert Table Footer. So you do that, and it will automatically generate a sum for this column here. We are interested in that for the other column, so we'll just copy that formula in here. And instead of costs, we are going to reference the monthly cost USD. All right, the next column that I will recommend here in my template is a scenario button. So as you work through this and you come up with different expenses, you may want to kind of think in your head, if you have a specific target number that you're looking for, like I am looking to get my expenses under, $6,000 a month, how can I accomplish that? So one of the ways we can do that here is with creating a scenario column. And for this column type, we would like it to be a checkbox type. And we're going to checkbox all of them. So I'll just drag this down. So we'll turn them all on to get us started. And then we're going to add a column called scenario cost. And for this one, it's going to be a formula for if expenses scenario. Then we're going to take the E2 Otherwise, we'll make it 0. And then again, it's going to suggest autofilling the formula. So we'll do it all there. And then we'll again put in a formula for summation. So now that we have this in place, now we can actually do checkboxes. So if we would like to postpone our movie nights because we are trying to save up money, you can uncheck this and it'll make the value become 0. And then that'll impact your total down here. And that can be a really good tool to help you kind of experiment and pontificate on different possibilities for you to get to your target number that you're looking for. But yeah, this is a kind of I think a valuable approach to get started with things. Of course, this is a standard like Google Sheets, so you can also do things like add comments, like you can ask, why, and then you could share this Google Sheet, with your partner, and they can come in and they can add their own commentary or suggestions, and you can kind of work towards something you're, interested in. You can also do versioning, so you can, save a named version of your budget and then come back to it. You could also just like duplicate this entire table and, do other combinations of experiments there. But yeah, hopefully you found this demonstration helpful. If you have any questions, let me know. And I will include a link to the spreadsheet in the post. And yeah, hopefully you can check it out and have a nice day and good luck with your budget.